I want to start with a number. You will use a toilet today. You will use one tomorrow. The average person uses one somewhere between 6 and 8 times a day, every day, for their whole life. And almost none of those times will involve a single conscious thought about the machine you are sitting on. It is one of the most important pieces of technology in human history, and it is the one we think about the least. Today, we fix that.
Okay, Renee, it's no double entry bookkeeping, right?
Oh, right.
But
I get
still
it.
important.
Yeah.
But today we've got some help. We have a special guest. She's 12, and she knows more about the TOTO period than anyone I know, including a couple of adults who teach it for a living. And she is my daughter.
That is true.
All right. She's here because it turns out the history of the flushing toilet runs straight through the court of Queen Elizabeth I, which happens to be her specialist subject. So when we get there, she'll drive it.
No pressure.
I'm ready. I have been ready since before you two started doing this podcast.
Okay, so here's where we're going. We start before the toilet. In the ancient world where some very clever people solved this problem, and then humanity mostly forgot about it for 1,000 years. It sounds just like us. We land in the Tudor court for the first proper flushing toilet. We follow it through the people who actually made it work, into the sewers that saved millions of lives, and out the other side into the strangest, most high-tech toilets on Earth, which are, of course, Japanese. And we are honest about what the flush cost us, because it costs us more than you would think.
All right, so let's begin where everyone begins, sitting down. So to understand why the flushing toilet matters, you have to understand what it replaced. And for most of human history, the answer is actually not much. For most people, most of the time, the toilet was a hole, a river.
But not always. And this is the part that surprises people. The flushing toilet is not some modern thing the ancient world lacked. The ancient world had it, and then they lost it.
The Minoans had one. On Crete, on the island of Knossos, around 1700 BC, so nearly 4,000 years ago, there was a toilet with a wooden seat, and water washed the waste away down a drain. It was in the queen's part of the palace.
And the Romans took that idea and scaled it up enormously. Roman cities had public latrines, long benches with holes in them, with water running constantly in a channel underneath, carrying everything away to the sewers. The great Roman sewer, the cloaca maxima, is still partly in use in Rome today. Wait, there's this giant bench with holes in it? Or just that aquifer is there? Like, tell me more. What?
The sewer itself.
Oh,
yeah,
I got you. Okay.
Not the benches. Yeah.
Oh,
You can see the benches in Pompeii, but not the
okay.
the sewers still. The Roman stuff is all used to all of this. Aqueducts, the plumbing, and all that stuff. So everyone says the toilet was invented in the 1500s, 2,000 years later, basically. Well, 1800, but a technical period. And here's why, and it's the whole key to the episode here. The Roman system ran on continuous water, so like continuous flush. There's a stream running under the seats all the time, day and night, carrying waste away. Nobody flushed anything. The water never stopped.
So the flush was not an event. It was just happening.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. The water was always on. What nobody had yet was the flush you could pull, so on-demand flush itself. Stored water was held in reserve, released on demand into your bowl when you want it. That idea itself, the flush is the thing you trigger, is the leak. The Romans have the plumbing. They didn't have the button or the tissue, the handle, whatever.
And then it mostly disappears. When the Roman Empire falls apart in the West, the big public sanitation falls apart with it. By the medieval period in Europe, you are back to chamber pots and cesspits.
Okay, tell me about the medieval toilet, because honestly, this is your area, not mine. I want to hear about it.
Okay. So in a castle, you had a guardrail. It was basically a stone seat built into the thickness of the wall, sticking out over the side, and everything dropped down the shaft, either into the moat or into a pit at the bottom. And the guardrail actually means guarding the road because people hung their clothes in there. They thought the
Oh.
smell, the ammonia kept the moths out of the wool. Ugh,
Yeah.
oh, disgusting.
So the toilet was also the wardrobe.
Oh, come on.
The toilet was also the wardrobe. And in towns where there was no shaft and no moat, you had a chamber pot, and you emptied it out of the window into the street. In Edinburgh, they shouted a warning for gardez-vous. It is from the French garde-loup. Watch out for the water, except it was not water.
It was never water.
It was never water.
Okay, so there's a fact about the Romans I want to flag here quick, because it's everywhere and it might not be true. People love to say that the Romans cleaned themselves with a shared sponge on a stick, passed down the row of the public latrine, and that sponge thing, it's called the tersoria.
Oh. And historians actually argue about that one. There are a couple of old Roman writers who mention a sponge on a stick, but nobody actually describes a person using it on themselves. Some historians think it was used for cleaning the toilet, like a toilet brush, not the person. And when archaeologists dug up a real Roman sewer at Herculaneum, they found bits of cloth which suggested people wiped with cloth, or mops, or even broken pottery.
Broken pottery.
Yes. Ooh, ouch.
Ouch. So, my gosh, if I don't have the quilted kind, I'm angry. So the famous gross fact is
Possibly not even true, or at
Oh.
least not the way everyone tells it, which is honestly the most interesting thing about it.
Good. We like to say we're an accurate house.
right. All right. So this is the one we've been waiting for. Actually, I've been waiting for this one. This is going to be fun. The first proper flushing toilet shows up in the court of Queen Elizabeth I. Thank you very much. So take it away. Who invented it?
His name was Sir John Harington, and he was Queen Elizabeth's godson. She actually called him her saucy godson because he was cheeky and kept getting into trouble. He was a courtier and a writer, and in 1596, he invented a flushing toilet.
All right, so tell us what did he call
He called it the Ajax, which is a joke because Ajax was the slang word for a toilet back then. So the Ajax.
He named the first flush toilet after a pun.
He wrote a whole book about it in 1596, and the book is also a pun. It is called A New Discourse Upon a Stale Subject, The Metamorphosis of Ajax, a stale subject, because and the book got him in trouble because it had jokes about powerful people hidden inside it. So he got sent away from court for a while.
Mm.
So how did the Ajax actually work? What made it different from the Roman thing we just talked
It had a tank of water up above, a cistern, and you pulled a handle and a valve opened and let the water rush down into the bowl and wash everything away into a pit below. So it is the flush you can pull. The water is stored and you release it when you want it. That was the new bit. The Romans had running water. Harington had the flush.
And he built one for the queen?
He built the first one at his own house in Somerset, and then he had one put in for the Queen at Richmond Palace around 1592. So the Queen of England had a flushing toilet.
All right, so here's my question. If he invented it in 1590, whatever, and even the Queen had one, why did everyone not get one? Why does the flushing toilet basically vanish again for 200 years or so?
2 reasons. The first is there were no sewers, so the Ajax just flushed into a pit underneath the house, and the pit still had to be emptied by hand. But people called gong farmers, which was a real job and a horrible one, so it did not really save you much.
I mean, the cesspit still kind of worked, I guess. All right, so give us the second.
The second reason is it smelled. There was nothing. There was nothing stopping the smell from the pit coming straight back up the pipe into the room. Harrington's toilet did not have the part that fixes that yet. So a lot of people decided it was not worth the bother and kept using their chamber pots.
Okay. We're going to come back to that missing part because it turns out to be the most important little bend in the history of plumbing. But first, I want to stay in the Tudor court because there's a job here that I cannot believe is real.
The groom of the stool.
The groom of the stool. Explain it, because when my co-host told me about this, I did not believe him. Like, who would want that job? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I wouldn't want that. That's disgusting.
Right?
So the king had a special toilet called a closed stool. It was like a padded box with a chamber inside. And it was actually really fancy, covered in velvet and gold, all sorts of stuff. There was a person whose whole job was to help the king use it, to be there and to clean up afterwards.
Dude, that was a job.
Yeah, that was a job. And here's the weird part, surprisingly. It was one of the best jobs in the entire court because you were with the king at his most private moment every single day and nobody else was allowed in. So he would talk to you. He would tell you things. He trusted you. So the groom of the stool ended up being one of the most powerful people in the country. Some of them basically ran the king's money.
So the man who upped the king on the toilet was one of the most powerful men.
Oh, wow.
I know. That's so weird.
It's so
And
weird.
it's because being in the room was the power. Under Henry VIII, one of them was Sir William Compton, and he was incredibly rich. Another one, Henry Norris, was executed in 1536 when Anne Boleyn fell because he was that close to the royal family.
I mean,
You know Henry Norris. Like, that's terrible. I can't imagine him standing there with the pot and the, like, saying, yes, sir. Like, yes, your highness. Like, oh, God. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, Norris was like a big deal.
Yes, he was. He was a very big deal. He just aligned himself with the wrong people. But yes, right? Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So maybe if he hadn't, been waking up after, he wouldn't have gotten, his
There
neck
you
job.
go. Or did a better job of it. He might have been more valuable.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So there's a local connection here that I kind of like. And we checked it out carefully because the story people tell, here locally is not quite right. There's a moated manor house near where we live called Iden Moat.
It's so gorgeous. And it has a moat the whole way around it.
It's really cool house. And the man who owned it in the Tudor period, Sir Richard Clement, is sometimes described locally as the king's toilet attendant. So, like, if you go there and you go into the Great Hall, you talk to him about it. That's the story they'll tell you, that he was the green steward. But when we looked into it, that's not exactly true. He
Since
was
you
not the
fact
groom of
checked
the
the
stool.
docent.
Yeah, we did. we fact checked the docent. He was the groom of the Privy Chamber, which is kind of the next thing along here.
The Privy Chamber was the king's private rooms. The grooms of the Privy Chamber were the people allowed into the king's private space to look after him. So Clement really was one of the king's personal servants, just not the actual stool one. That one was Compton.
And here's a word thing that ties the whole room together. Privy. The Privy Chamber. Like, why is it called that?
Yeah, so privy just means private. It comes from the Latin for private through an old French word, privé. To be privy to the secret means you're in on something private. The Privy Council is the king's private council. The Privy Chamber is his private rooms, and the toilet, the privy, is the private place. It's all the same word.
So the Privy Chamber and the outhouse are literally the same word. And the Tudor court is the one place where both meanings are sitting right next to each other. The king's private rooms and the king's private business looked after by the same small group of people.
That's a perfect piece of history, right? The private room, the private place, the same word in the same place. That's comforting, I guess.
It's what was really fascinating to me is like that we knew who the guy was that, cleaned up Henry VIII's business.
Right? That he's like part of history. Like, yeah.
Not just
good
part of
point.
history. The dude was rich, and he got rich because he was doing it.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
pretty-
disgusting.
Yeah, you know what though? Maybe the grossest jobs make the most money, or at least used to.
What was
right?
that? What was that TV show like I did?
Dirty Jobs.
Dirty Jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
Well, we fact check all of this right now. So the Harington dates, the groom of the stool, item moat, etymology. Because I think one thing that we wanted to make sure on this episode was that we could not repeat the gift shop.
And it's because we are an accurate household.
All right, so let's move on from Harrington's Ajax in 1596 with the two problems: no sewer, and the smell coming back at the pipe. The story of the next 300 years is fixing both of those things, and the smell itself gets fixed first by one of the most elegant little inventions you probably don't even think about.
The bend in the pipe.
The bend in the pipe. All right, so in 1775, a Scottish watchmaker. Why is it always these guys like, they're like a watchmaker, they're totally unrelated.
You know why? Because they're sitting there doing a boring job thinking, you know what? That really reeks. I can smell it from here. I wonder how I could fix that.
All right, so this guy is named Alexander Cumming, and he patented the S-trap. So if you don't know what an S-trap is, it's the bend in the pipe below the toilet. And it's not just toilets, lots of different sinks.
Sinks, yeah.
It's literally shaped like an S. And it holds a little water in it all the time. The trapped water is the seal. It blocks the gas from the sewer or the pit from coming back up into your house while still letting waste go down. It's just a curve in a pipe holding a cup full of water, and it's just things that makes an indoor toilet bearable.
That is why, if you look at the side of the toilet, the pipe curves. That curve is still doing the same job from 1775.
Every flushing toilet on Earth still has a version of that. That's just like in the old house that we lived in. There was a tub that we didn't use very often, and if when the wind blows, the house shifts and stuff, that little bit of water, that seal, it just breaks, and then you're like, wow, why does this bathroom smell so bad? Like,
oh, I got a good one for you.
Is that the one that leaked into the kitchen?
Yes.
Oh, I have a sink in the laundry room that definitely has a problem with that because when it's windy out, it blows air out of the drain, right?
Oh,
so
no.
it's just so it's like there's wind coming from that room. You're like, why is there air coming out of this hole? Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Still haven't figured it out.
Yeah, the house will shift and stuff, and the water will get jostled around, and then the air will come up, and then all you have to do is just pour them. Anyways, 3 years after the invention of the S-trap here, and in 1778, a man called Joseph Brahma improved the valve and the mechanism that started making flush toilets properly, and they slowly caught on with people who could afford them.
And now we have to talk about the most famous name in toilets because everyone's waiting for it. Say it.
Say it.
Thomas Crapper.
and everyone thinks he invented it.
Yeah, that's mostly wrong. Thomas Crapper was a real person, a real plumber in Victorian London. He was very good at it. He had fancy showrooms. He held some patents. He helped make the flush toilet popular and respectable, but he didn't invent it. Oh, that sounds familiar. The toilet existed long before him, and the word crap is older than he is. It's totally a coincidence. You know what, though? It's a very, very good coincidence. Huh?
His name was just Crapper, and he sold toilets. That's it. The universe did that on purpose.
Hey, can I tell you something? I had a dentist named Fang. Kind of the same thing. Dr. Fang. She was my dentist. All right, go ahead.
So here's the thing you gotta keep serotonin though. Yeah. We have the flush, the bed of pipes, you can buy toilets, but a toilet with nowhere to send it is just a fancier way to fill a pit. So when the sewers actually show up,
with a disaster, because isn't that how it always goes? In the summer of 1858 in London, the River Thames was so full of human sewage that the smell shut the city down. They called it the Great Stink. We talked about this back in season 2's first episode, the AI thirst trap, when we talked about the industrial uses of water. The Great Stink was so bad that Parliament, which sits right on the river, soaked its curtains in chemicals. And then they basically gave up and decided they had to fix the river.
They only fixed it because it started to smell bad for the important people.
There's a lesson.
There you go. That's exactly what the smell reached Parliament. They hired an engineer named Joseph Bazalgette, who built London an enormous network of sewers, over 1,000 miles to carry the waste away from the city. And he built them so well that a lot of them are still working today, more than 100.
And this is the public health part, and it's hard to overstate. Before the sewers, cities had cholera, which spread through the water contaminated with sewage. A few years before the Great Stink, a doctor named John Snow had traced a cholera outbreak in London to a single water pump on Broad Street and proved the disease was in the water, not the air. Put those two things together, the proof that sewage in the water kills you, and the sewers take that sewage away, you get one of the largest jumps in human health in all of history. Good, better than the Black Plague. Good for y'all, right?
Well, you read some of the older, Renaissance and the medieval manuscripts and things, and every couple of years there'd be an outbreak of something, and everybody would leave the city and go, go out and then come back, and sewers help stop that. So, and the signs of this include the starting to overstate. Clean water and sanitation are reckoned to be among the biggest reasons life expectancy roughly doubled in the developed world over the last century and a half. Vaccines, antibiotics matter enormously too, but a huge share of it is simply taking the sewage away from the drinking water. Children stop dying of diarrhea, and in enormous numbers, flushing toilet connected to sewer is quietly one of the deadliest diseases' worst enemies.
There was a poll in a medical journal where readers voted sanitation the most important medical advance since 1840, ahead of antibiotics and ahead of anesthetics.
Okay, wait a minute. Can I just put this out there? I don't want anyone doing surgery on me while I'm awake. I would put that different. I'm going to put that out there. I don't want to be awake for surgery. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. True, but
no, I'd rather die of diarrhea than bite on a piece of wood while you took something off of me. No.
Still something that people do.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. So look, the British Medical Journal ran a poll in 2007. So sanitation won. So much as you want to say, maybe anesthetics, sanitation won.
All right.
Doctors. So
okay.
If you look back at Roman sewers, even though they had lead pipes, they still had the benefits of washing them.
So that is the good news. And it is enormous good news. But this is a show that tries to be honest, right? So let's talk about what the flush costs, because it's not free. Start with the water. Every time you flush a modern toilet, you send several liters of clean, treated, drinkable water down the drain. Older toilets use about 13 liters of flush. Newer ones are down to around 6 or less. But okay, so I just want to say, my toilet, it has 2 flushy thingies on it. It's on the top, right? It's got 2 buttons. The one on the left is if you do a number 1. And the one on the right is if you do a number 2. The number 1 sends almost no water down that drain because there's nothing to send down. And the number 2 one actually sends a lot of water down because it's actually flushing away a lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm doing it. All right. We take water clean enough to drink and we use it to move waste. In a lot of the world, that water people can't spare.
Renee, I love how you're so environmentally aware about
Thank
your
you.
water.
Thank you very much. I have solar panels too. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Love that. Anyway, we drink the same water we flush with. It's just been cleaned in between.
And that is the loop most people never think about.
The second cost is what happens downstream. All that waste has to go somewhere. And when sewer systems get overwhelmed, usually at rain, a lot of cities are still built, so they overflow straight into rivers and the sea. Raw sewage, it still happens in wealthy countries today.
Well, yeah, it happens in LA today. You can walk past
Yeah.
any storm drain and it says all drains lead to the ocean. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that's bad. That's bad. You know how much crap we throw in the street? Like, oh, okay. And a third of the cost is the one I think about the most, which is the flush taught us not to think. You press a handle, it's gone, it's someone else's problem. I pay taxes, you deal with it. Like, that's literally how it works. The whole design of it is to make the waste vanish so completely that you never have to consider where away actually is.
That's right. That's a flush and forget.
Flush and forget. And the biggest version of that is the one we forgot hardest, which is that for a huge part of the world, this entire conversation is theoretical.
Yeah, billions of people still do not have a safe toilet. Not a fancy one, safe one. Somewhere that takes the waste away from where people live and drink. The single most important medical advance since 1840, the thing that helped double our lifespan, and billions of people still do not have it. Fancy will have one.
And the toilet is not old technology that everyone has. It is amazing technology that lots of people are still waiting for.
Which makes the future of the toilet a more interesting question than it sounds. So, where is this going? And I understand we have to talk about the people who are living in the future. Japan.
Japan. I mean, you can't talk about toilets without talking about Japan. So we have to talk about Japan because Japan is the one place on earth that treats the toilet as a serious piece of consumer technology. And the company everyone should know is TOTO. I worked for a Japanese company years ago. I was in this little town, Tsugi. It's not really a town. It's kind of outside of Tokyo. It's a manufacturing state. And driving around, there's the TOTO, facility right there. And you go in, you take a little tour. It's really cool.
Wait, did you go take the
TOTO,
tour? Because I would go
yeah,
take that tour. Yeah, good for
yeah.
you. All right.
On my
Wait, what was in
host,
the gift shop? What was in the gift shop? Anything good?
don't remember.
Maybe like toilet
I think there
magnets.
was a little model. You could build like a little model.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I'm
good.
pretty
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Go
It's
ahead.
been 20 years. So,
All right.
but
That's fair enough.
yeah. So Toto was founded in 1917, and in 1980 they released the washlet, which is the toilet seat that does everything. It's a heated seat and warm water that washes you and warm air that dries you, a built-in deodorizer. Some of them even lift the lid for you when you walk in.
My God, Sam would be in
And when we
heaven.
visit our family, their toilet is a TOTO. And the seat is warm. And the first time I used it, I did not know what was happening.
Wait,
I would have thought
let's say
someone else
this.
was sitting on it right before I got there. Because isn't that what you would think? You'd be like, why is
Yeah.
this warm?
Well, I mean, if you know that it's going to be storm.
Yeah, I was like, who's on the toilet for
Yeah,
this
like,
long?
ew. Yeah, like, oh.
Well, it's
Okay.
not sweaty.
No, but it's warm. That's just, okay, go ahead. Mm. Mm.
But it's a completely different experience. And there's one detail I think is kind of funny. A lot of Japanese toilets have a button that plays a sound, like running water or music, and it exists purely so other people cannot hear you. Toto made a device for it back in the 1980s and called it the Otohime, the sound princess,
Ooh.
because children were embarrassed and were flushing over and over and over to cover noise, wasting huge amounts of water. So they invented a fake flush sound to say it's real water.
They invented a noise to save water. That is a beautiful piece of engineering psychology. And the reason Japan is important for the future in what comes next, which is the toilet that looks after your health. Now, I like this idea. The idea that the toilet is the one machine you use every single day that gets a daily read on how your body's doing, and nobody ever thinks to use it for that, right? Your output could be good output. So companies and universities are starting to build smart toilets and analyze what goes into them and can spot early warning signs of illness long before you would ever go to a doctor.
A toilet that can tell you are getting sick before you even feel sick.
I did too, but as with all things, as long as it's not like a toilet brought to you by FedEx.
Well, okay, yeah, or Anthropic or
And
OpenAI. I don't need a
the,
Gen AI toilet. Yeah, I'm
the
with you on
Google
that.
toilet.
The Google toilet. Oh, that'd be even worse. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Subscription, to tell you.
Oh my gosh, yeah,
I
it's just a
hope the
regular
Apple doesn't
toilet
make
till you
one.
pay me $14.99 a month to learn if you're going to die or not. You're so right. I'm taking it back. This is a bad idea. What a terrible idea.
Well, I mean, with all things health, I think hopefully it would not turn into subscription service. Right? Anyways, so Stanford built and tested one of these kind of more advanced toilets 2 years ago. TOTO has shown conversions too. The toilet becomes a health monitor you never have to remember to use because you're already using it.
And then there's the other end of the future. We keep punning this the whole way. There's another end of the future which connects right back to what we said about the billions of people without one. The whole flush and sewer model has a hidden requirement. It needs a giant, expensive sewer network and a lot of clean water, and huge parts of the world have neither and may never be able to build them.
Yeah. Which is why instead of trying to give everyone a Victorian sewer, there's a push to invent a toilet that does not need one. The Gates Foundation ran something called the Reinvent the Toilet Challenge. It started in 2011 to build a toilet that processes the waste on the spot with no sewer, no outside water, and turns it into something simple.
A toilet that cleans up after itself with no pipes going anywhere.
Isn't there a Central Dump something kind of like that? It was like a big giant, truck or something. It's
No, that was a swimming pool. Remember, it was a portable swimming pool. Like it would drive around the neighborhood and pick the kids up. No, well, I mean, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that.
Well,
yeah.
The toilet's like in the space shuttle and stuff, but it still gets, it doesn't get processed and reduced or anything like that. But I can imagine, usually toilet, right? It's just waste gets
Oh,
dropped.
yeah. Well, could you imagine just sitting down on something that has plutonium in it or something? Just being
There you
like,
go.
I don't know. Doesn't seem like a good idea. Hey, maybe like a microwave. You're sort of crapping into the microwave and then it makes
There you
it
go.
really small and then really crusty and then it just goes somewhere. And I don't know what you would do with this. I don't know. Hey, I saw these people who were sleeping in a hotel room on the side of a cliff in Chile. I'm not sure, like you had to climb the cliff to get to it. I don't know who would stay there, right? But you would use the toilet and you would actually go in a bag and then just drop the bag down a hole and it would just go all the way down the cliff and then land at the bottom somewhere and somebody would pick up that bag and put it in another bag and send it off as waste. Same thing for the urinal. You'd go to the bathroom in that. It would just go all the way down to the bottom of the cliff. It got caught in a big bucket. They would trade that out once a day for like everybody who was staying there. It was incredibly gross, but it is exactly what we're talking about, right? It's just that hole in the wall, right? And then it has nowhere to go and it hits a moat. Like that's exactly what they were doing at that hotel that you can stay at today. Ew.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
It's a
so
different kind
gross.
of block piece again.
Right?
But look, it's a toilet that does solely self-sustained. It works. It does for the places that never got sewers. Well, it hasn't got sewers to London, but without needing the sewers. And that is the future. Well, it could make a huge difference. Not the warp seat, warm part plutonium, maybe. The toilet that finally reaches everyone.
Huh. Imagine what you could put in your travel van then, right? Like you could have a fully functioning toilet you never had to worry about in your travel van to live your van life dreams. Because right
There you
now
go.
they also go in a bag. So we started this with a number, 6 to 8 times a day, the machine you never think about. Where do we land?
Well, we land on the fact that this thing, the one nobody thinks about, went from a Queen's strange novelty in 1596 to the single biggest reason most of us are alive to be bored by it. The flush, the bend in the pipe, the sewer, the clean water. It's a stack of unambiguous inventions that quietly did more for human life than almost anything we've ever made.
And it started with a man making a pun for the Queen.
Right. Started with a man making fun of the Queen. And it's not finished because the next chapter is partly a warm Japanese seat that tells you you're getting ill, and mostly, hopefully, a toilet simple and cheap enough to reach the millions of people who are still waiting for the thing the rest of us flush without a thought.
Yeah, it's not bad for a stale subject.
That's a Harington joke. He'd be so proud.
All right. Thanks for listening to the whole episode about toilets. Well, we regret not.
And if you learned that the privy chamber and the privy are the same word, tell someone at dinner tonight. Tell them slowly and quietly.
And
it's
if
about
anyone
a
ever
toilet.
tells you that the Romans shared a sponge on a stick, you can now say, actually, historians are not sure about that. You're welcome, guys.
I want to thank our guest today who suggested this topic and is a genuine Tudor expert who also happens to be my daughter. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
This is the Nostalgic Nerds podcast. We'll be back next week, hopefully with the lid down. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks.